And today, I'm also lucky because I have two very good friends with me here. You can't see them, but there's Sujano Bhante, who's on my left, and Anagarika Sarah, who just arrived in Sri Lanka not too long ago. And we're really lucky because we've had a week of straight rain, and today is miraculously beautiful day. Got really nice sun. So we're lucky. Great. Everybody has a chai. So I was lucky enough to have friends and so we can share a chai together. I hope you were ready. What time is it in Canada right now? I think there's only one person from Canada in this group. Good morning.
It's very early.
But we can see you.
Yes. It's very nice to see everybody. And I send my love to Anagarika Sarah.
You should come. Say hello, Marty.
Hi, Marty.
From the other side
Hi,
of the
Sarah.
planet.
I'm glad that you're there.
Yeah, good to see you. You're in your nest, your Dhamma nest.
Yes, I'm on retreat, so I will stop talking and just listen.
Good. Very well-trained disciple of the Buddha. Great. So, wonderful. So this week, what was happening? Lots of rain. I like rain, so I don't really mind it. Yeah, I guess there was some Dhamma. There's been some good Dhamma around. What were we talking about recently? I had a question about, I'll break the ice, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. So there was a question on the internet at some point, I think, and that's a topic that comes back over and over again, that I find myself explaining very often, is mindfulness and right effort and how that works, how that process works. Because I often say that, I'm sorry, I like to look at everybody, but it's like my eyes are like, woo. So, because I often say mindfulness, awareness is a byproduct of right effort. And so some people sometimes wonder what I mean by that. And there was a question about, what does that mean, and how does one actually practice right effort? And I thought that was maybe a good thing to clarify. There was a question on the group also a few weeks ago. What is right effort, and the 6 R's, and where that whole thing fits in there. And I think that's, for me, in my own practice and my own development through this, that was one of the biggest understanding that really unlocked a lot of perspectives for me, was to understand how right effort actually brings mindfulness. And one does not necessarily, for example, in the past I was thinking mindfulness is something that we do. It's something that, I am looking at you without flinching, without moving. That's mindfulness. Unbroken continuity of awareness. And there is a way that that can be true, there is a way that this can be brought about continuously with some kind of energy or force. But I found this very, very tiresome to bring into my life, actually. When I stepped out of retreat, as soon as I stepped out of retreat, this kind of mindfulness was actually dropping very quickly. Whatever I had accumulated during my retreat, it was beautiful, it was great, and then I came out and I felt like a little bit overwhelmed, and then, and then I felt like, how am I going to be able to be mindful in my day-to-day life and all the time, like, because it seemed like everything was pulling me out of that forced kind of mindfulness. But then my teacher really helped me understand a little bit more of the process of right effort and how actually practicing right effort is what really brings mindfulness or awareness naturally. And so this kind of combination of both, because there is mindfulness in right effort and there is right effort in mindfulness. For those who are poly nerds, if you have looked up at the formula of the satipatthana, of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, so being aware of body as body, intent, present and aware, or however you want to translate that. Vinaya loke abhija domanasang. So letting go, or letting go, vinaya, loke, the world, abhija domanasang. Abhija is like wanting or clinging. Domanasang is having like a depression or difficulty, sadness, things like that. So actually that last line of each of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, Vinaya Loke Abhija Domanasang, that's actually right effort. So I find that really interesting to see that in fact there is right effort in mindfulness, in what the Buddha is explaining so many times. Of course, that's a very short description. I like to translate it as letting go of tension and distractions, or I'll usually try to make it more accessible so that people can understand a little bit more what that would mean, like not clinging to the world or not being agitated by the world. The world is the 6 senses for the Buddha, so whatever is experienced at the 6 senses, that is the world. For Buddha. And so that's one side of it. There's many sides. It's like a it's like a nice icosahedron, or whatever you call it. There's many facets to it. But really the bulk, I think, and that's kind of going to the question we had on signal, the bulk of right effort is not one thing. Right effort is actually, you need the whole Eightfold Path to understand right effort properly. So the right effort is not just at the level of the mind. So when we explain the 6 R's, for example, recognizing, releasing, relaxing, re-smiling, returning to loving kindness, and then repeating. The 6 R's are what we do at the level of the mind, usually when we meditate. We do it all the time, but the thing is that's why I said the 6 R's are right effort, but they're a very small part of right effort. Right effort is actually applicable to the whole of the path. And so we have at the level of intention, and that's very important to understand the root of it so that we can understand the rest. And maybe someone can venture and say, what are the 2 or 3 right intentions or wise intentions? So the first one is Sama Vayama is the Pali for right effort. But thank you for answering.
Right view.
Right view.
Samadhi.
Yes, that is the first of the Eightfold Path. Yes, right view. I'm interested to know what is the first of the right intentions. Maybe I can ask the audience. Nekama. What is nekama? Nekama.
Nekama is giving up.
Yes, letting go, or yes,
Renunciation.
renunciation. Yes, there we go.
Renunciation.
In the same pantheon, we have, yes, very good. Anagarika Sarah nailed it. In that same field, we have the word viveka, which also means detaching, detachment, letting go. It's a word I really like to translate as letting go. And in the same field also, we have pahana, pahanaya. So,
Giving up.
yes. Sometimes called abandoning, sometimes, yes, giving away, giving up. So nekkama, viveka, pahana, these are all synonyms, very close together. And so that is the first one, and that's why and mainly there's 2. There's really 2 sides to right intention. One is to let go of. We'll go into that a little bit deeper later. Let's start with the summary here. And then the second one would be cultivation of. In Pali we have nekkama sankappo and
Also,
wholesome sati. Yes, it's very close. But the other side is nekkama and avyapada. I don't know if you, yes. And avyapada is like non-ill will. Or that is basically everything that falls into the realm of uplifting the mind, loving kindness, the Brahma Viharas, compassion, anumodana, everything that is in the Buddha's teaching. We have so many things that are meant to actually uplift our minds. Avyapada is to cultivate the opposite of a shrunken, angry, or maybe resentful mind. So it's to develop that other mind. And to understand these 2 is really, because we were just talking about that yesterday, just nekkama, the power of nekkama, and how mindfulness is not necessarily something that we need to do, but as soon as we apply nekkama, letting go or renunciation of the things that are causing us, our minds, to be agitated, and we actually cultivate purposefully a mind that is loving and kind, that is compassionate, that is joyful, piti, sukha. We have these beautiful words. So on one side we let go, and on one side we bring up. And so this is really what right intention, the 2 sides of right intention. Now there's also delusion, but that's the third. I like to keep it simple because sometimes delusion is kind of is the byproduct also of these two. Whenever these two are there, there is delusion because we do not see clearly anymore. So if we take too much things on, we become restless, we do a lot, we get engaged in so many things, and even though they are all wholesome, the mind, in the end, needs to let go of a lot of things for it to be peaceful and calm. And then also to bring up loving kindness, bring up joy, then that will also solidify mindfulness. And so I like to call that the two wings to awakening, because on one side we have letting go, and the other side we have uplifting the mind. And when we beat both wings, we actually fly up and straight in the Buddha's teaching. And that's the root. And right intention. I said delusion, but that's not true. That would be non-delusion. And non-delusion is actually here, I think, is just basically mindfulness also. Just developing this mind that is present. That's why I like to call that presence of mind more than mindfulness. Nowadays, it shifts things around a little bit because mindfulness is a very loaded term, and so there's a lot of concept attached to mindfulness nowadays, and it's really hard to break out of it. And so I like presence of mind because presence of mind is a bit more natural, or to me anyways. It feels a bit less forced when I think about that presence of mind. But presence of mind happens naturally when we let go of all the things that are unwholesome and agitating our mind, and we bring up wholesome states like loving kindness, compassion, joy. That just doing this, naturally there will be mindfulness. So I think that's what the beauty of this teaching is that just when we understand the different nature of states, of mental states, and what to do with them, that actually culminates in mindfulness. So that's what I mean when I say mindfulness is just a byproduct of right effort, because I say that on purpose because nowadays it's really kind of well known that mindfulness is a thing to do. And I like to say that it's not. It's a thing that arises on its own when we cultivate the right causes and conditions. And so, not to go too long on the topic, but this is compressing a few talks that I've given. And now that we understand the root of right intention, the root of, because this is wise intention, this is the root that we need, the seed that we need to understand the above part of the tree. And so from there, in the Eightfold Path, we have now this from the mind, from the intention, the first thing that comes is speech. And so from the mind there is speech, and now wise speech is also we need to use, is part of right effort. When somebody, I think this goes missing a lot of the time in our circle. Sometimes we think that it's all about cultivating intention and the mind and only the 6 R's. But honestly, it's not just that. Whenever you want to say something that is unskillful and you stop yourself and you think twice, and then you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. That is also right effort. So, and the more you do it, the more you recondition your speech, also the way that you talk, towards a more wholesome, towards a always more wholesome, more kind speech, or maybe more skillful. Maybe you can say something that is a good reply but is not offensive, that calms the fire instead of bringing it up. And then, of course, then we have body. Then mind, speech, and body. Then is coarser and coarser and coarser. Anything, all the actions that we do, and these are all the virtues, by the way. This is all the domain of actually, when people say, yeah, meditation is nice, but what do I do in my real life, so that there's some change? Well, right effort is all the time. It's in everything, body, speech, and mind. And we let go of the things that are not serving us, not beneficial to us, unwholesome, and that culminates into us getting that unwholesome karma back, and cultivating wholesome states all the time. And so the body is, well, in general, it's like being kind to all living beings. It's a good place to start. Not hurting, not killing living beings. So just practicing that mind that is benevolent, that is compassionate, that sees other beings as just other beings wanting to be happy, wanting to live. If they're in your house, maybe you can allow them to live somewhere else if they're disturbing you. We call that relocation. And you can do it with a kind heart, with a compassionate heart. We relocate a lot of ants in Sri Lanka because this is Sri Lanka, and this is, the breeding ground for all the ants in the world, apparently. So we have to, learn to deal with that skillfully. And then there's not obviously not taking what is not given, and abstaining from sexual misconduct, which would be hurtful for other beings. These are like really in terms of the 5 virtues, but it's more than this. It's more than this. It's anything at the level of your own actions, of the body, that could be hurtful, that could be unbeneficial, unwholesome for other people. It's to try to let go of these habits, let go of them, and then to bring up wholesome ones, to bring up wholesome. So whenever you want to slap a mosquito, maybe just take the special time to just may you be happy somewhere else. That's just an example. That could be anything, really. But see, that's why I say right effort is a lot more than just the 6 R's, and we really don't want to forget about this. This is important. The Eightfold Path. If you want to remember something the Buddha taught, and you feel like it's a good thing to follow what he said, then the Eightfold Path that's where it's happening. And so at the level of intention, speech, body, all of our actions, and then he expands it to all of livelihood. How do we earn our living? How do we live? He prescribed just try to not be involved in very intense, darker professions like making poisons and ammunitions and weapons and all these things, like human trafficking. So all the really, really nasty stuff, really just, I don't think this is really the case of anybody here. I'm sure I'm not, I'm just explaining what this could be. But actually recently, what came also was, I didn't know where to put it, but it's also at the level of friendship. That's what I realized recently. It was really kind of like a kind of aha moment where I was like, I wonder where that, if we could just make a 9th fold of the path, because that's also so important, really important. letting go skillfully, compassionately of relationships that are not actually good for you, that are unskillful. You know, these relationships that are toxic sometimes. That'll just keep triggering you. So it's really difficult to make progress when that happens. And so it's very important. The Buddha said it so many times, how wise friendship is the whole of the path and how important it is. And to surround yourself, like me today, everybody is there, we're all here together, we've got beautiful friends, and surrounding yourself with people that are actually for your progress, for your practice, that actually resonate with what you do, that are, when you talk, it's uplifting, it's inspiring, that will bring so much goodness into your life. And so see how right effort, even at the level of friendship, is, so that's the ninth spoke of my path. And see, when we do all this, like if you take some time to think about, if you were to do this at the level of mind, speech, body, livelihood, and friendship, there's a lot of natural clarity that would be there, because it's a very loving environment, it's a spacious environment. I was talking to someone recently, sometimes when you go through hard times surrounded by people that are not in line with what you're doing, is very oppressive, or like it can be like reductive, diminishing. But when you're in a good environment, when you're actually practicing freely, in harmony, it's that spaciousness. There is space. When there is, for me now, what I think is, when there is mindfulness, there has to be space. I don't see it being like otherwise. I don't know. There needs to be mental space. If you want to be mindful, aware, present in mind, there needs to be mental space. And of course, life is life, and things will happen that will trigger you, and good. That's great. It's also good to have some, some resistance once in a while, and get to see what's going on inside. But if it's continual, then it's there's a certain amount of challenge and pain that we can take, and that we can actually turn for our own good. But sometimes when it's too much, then it becomes trauma, and then we store it, and that's where the problem starts. That's when it's, when we're in debt like this, then we're gonna have to come back out again. So at least to be stable or to go up is a good idea. So sometimes, it's not about controlling your environment so it's perfect all the time. There will be thousands of challenges all the time. I mean, we were just talking about that yesterday. It's like, this life doesn't want you to meditate, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed, but every time you want to go sit down and like have a really nice, long 5-hour meditation, like good luck. If you can punch it in, you're lucky. You're one of the lucky ones in millions out there, if you don't get a phone call, if you don't get like somebody starting, I don't know, like an orchestra next door, something really urgent that happens. So if you actually manage to have a regular practice, you're a very wealthy person. In this life, there's going to be so many challenges, and part of the wisdom, I think, that we can tell if we're really dedicated to what we're doing, is if we can actually find a way to bring our practice into our life more and more. I think for me that really hits the note. It's not just about, 2 years ago I had a really nice, long meditation sit. It was really amazing, had great experience. But I haven't been meditating for 2 years. So it's kind of, the more we integrate it, actually the stronger it is. The more we use our wisdom to actually see how much better it is to slow things down, to let go, and then cultivate wholesome states in all these aspects of our lives, I think is really key. And so this is how I would answer that topic quickly, I guess, because right effort has four steps to it. One is to protect the mind from unwholesome states from arising. So that means making sure that we're kind of, for example, in really short, simple, that would be like following the virtue. That will fence our garden. That will like make a nice protection, good enough that we can actually be sure that nothing really big will come and eat everything that we've cultivated. It's also what is called sense restraint, which is something I like to call mastery of the senses. Is also basically just being aware. It's kind of like being aware of mini dependent origination at each of the sense doors pretty much all the time. Like knowing that if I was to really latch onto, I really want to drink tea right now, like I can't stop, like that's all I want to do, and actually my mind is not actually understanding that it's creating all that tension for itself just because I want it, I really want it, but I have to give a talk, and so I'm really uncomfortable. By the way, this is an example. I'm trying to find an example that relates to my current situation. But to see that when the mind goes out into these senses and really engages, sometimes it's like a trap. We hold on to it and then it bites us and then we can't let it go. So just to make sure that at each of our senses that we're careful, that we're mindful enough, that we don't lose our mindfulness to go without thinking into one particular sense door. And that will kind of allow us to stay. I like to see it as like a bucket that is full of water, and all the senses are the 6 holes in which your awareness could flow into. But if we patch our bucket, and then the awareness naturally, when the bucket is sealed, and by any means I don't mean like going like this, but I just mean being mindful of what we do with our senses, how we engage, how we throw ourselves out there with that desire. When we do that, actually that is the first thing. You seal your bucket. And then the second fold is to let go of any arisen unwholesome state that could have arisen. So the first one is just to protect. The second one is to actually let go. So I get angry, I get upset, and then I feel that tension in my body, the boiling in my face and my gut. I feel, oh, this is actually unpleasant. And with that understanding, relaxing, letting that go. Always with the Four Noble Truths, we understand anger. It's actually unpleasant for me, and it also unpleasant in the long run. jealousy, resentment, retaliation, all of these unwholesome states. They come with tension, and so we let them go. And that's really also the 6 R's. That's where the 6 R's are more applied. But see, the 6 R's are not necessarily in the first step, so that's why I say the 6 R's are a small part of right effort. And then we have the third step, which is to bring up wholesome states. It's not enough just to let go, and that's the other part I really like. It's not enough just to let go, because a lot of people, and I will say this, advanced meditators also will just, because they are used to the clear mind, they're used to the stillness in the mind, they'll try to just let go, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. But then the mind at some point, it just kind of wobbles because it's actually looking for something. It's looking for something to do because there's not that joy. There's not that base of upliftment. So it's not enough just to let go. We have to uplift the mind, rejoice, mudita. We have to bring up piti, sukha. Anagarika Sarah does the best chant of the Upanisa Sutta with all these characteristics, how piti, we develop piti and then we develop sukha. Pasadi, piti, sukha. So pasadi, calming down, relaxing, is not enough in itself. We also bring the mind up. So that's what I really like, because I was not told this for 5 years while I was meditating, and that was missing. I was being told, be afraid of the joy, actually, which is very unfortunate. And to not even go near joy. So if joy would arise, basically I would just shut it down. But this is not part of right effort. This is not right effort. So the third one is to bring that wholesome state, that loving kindness on purpose. And that's any time. You know, sometimes for me, I love walking in nature. I take really long walks every day, and I love to do that then. I like so much beauty. Sri Lanka is so beautiful. Like, love is so easy to permeate, to bask in it. It's not just a meditation practice, it's actually a way of life. You just do it. You're laying in your bed sometimes, you know, and you just like, maybe you're doing some yoga nidra or NSDR, and non-sleep deep rest, resting your body. And actually I find that in those really relaxed state, the heart is very open, very easy. It's almost, it's effortless. It's just right there, and you can just do it, you know, in that posture too. And so it's always uplifting. It's a way of life. So we just keep doing it. And then the fourth right effort or wise practice is to, somebody can say it? I'll give a chance to the Zoom people because we've got masters in the room. So the fourth one,
Samadhi. Samadhi.
Samma Samadhi is yeah, we're getting there, but I mean the fourth of the right effort. The fourth right effort. So first we protect. Second, we let go. Third, we bring up. And fourth, we maintain.
Maintain.
Yes. Very good. It's a good thing there's a lag. You guys said it probably in Canada. Marty probably said it first, but it took some time to travel. and then and then India is closer. So Avinash has got a good headway. Yes, so we maintain. So see, we do that continuously, and then we also try to maintain the wholesome states. So it's not just bringing them up, it's to, like they say, bring them to maturity, to fulfillment, to completion, to maintain them continuously. That is kind of like the repeat step in the 6 R's, but it's missing a little bit of things. It's not complete. So really it's about all of these wholesome states. We bring them up and we maintain them at the level of the mind, the speech, the body, livelihood, and our friends. And so we cultivate to maintain that, to make more of it. And what that looks like is, the Buddha really had many ways of explaining things, so it's not easy for me to just go into one specific aspect of it. That's why I think this teaching is so beautiful, is that it's very rich and there's a lot to know. But maintaining would be at the level of maintaining our determination, our devotion. This is also in some suttas, the Buddha talks about doing a little bit of maranasati, doing a little bit of remembering that there is death at some point. That will also usually help maintain the energy. There's this other thing that we call samvega. Samvega in Pali means arousing a sense of urgency. So sometimes we can get a little bit complacent. We can, in French there's an expression called, we say, s'asseoir sur ses lauriers. It's like once you get something, then you sit on it. It's like you get a lot of wealth, or you get a lot of prestige, and then you sit on it. You stop doing it. You stop doing anything. So s'asseoir sur ses lauriers. Yes, and so it's basically the opposite of that. It's to not stop, because that's the problem. That sometimes we get a lot of wholesome things going on, and then we stop. We're like, oh yeah, this is really good. And so the Buddha says one good way to maintain it is to do some maranasati, to remember that at some point there will be death, and so we can arouse energy again. That was on the topic also a few times this week, recollection of death and its application and principles in the Buddha's teachings. One of our friends went to a post-mortem autopsy in Kandy the other day, and he was upset because it wasn't a real person. So they gave him like the plastic, not real thing. But in Sri Lanka, this is a very common practice. If you actually look at the list of forest monasteries in Sri Lanka, there's a guide that tells all the forest monasteries. A few monasteries in is actually the Colombo's department of whatever it is. I don't know, how do you call that? Like the morgue or something? Like the autopsy? Yeah. Anyways, because monks sometimes go and practice to see that it's sometimes. So usually monks who have a lot of problems with sensual desires, usually that's how they will really cut that at the root. So, but that's just one aspect. That's one aspect of maintaining. Really, mostly it's, for me, that fourth one is maintaining is also found in some way in each of the right efforts, because it's not about just protecting, letting go, bringing up, and then maintaining, but it's also to do that continuously with devotion, and this is where we find the word chanda. Chanda is wholesome desire, which is really interesting. Right effort is about cultivating that wholesome desire to protect, let go, bring up wholesome states and maintain them continuously. And so when we do that, there is space in our life. There's bound to be space. There's bound to be more space. There's bound to be more clarity, more stability. And there's bound to be mindfulness. It will arise. It has no other choice. Because this is right effort. This is how it flows into right mindfulness. And from there, right samadhi or wise meditation, wise collectedness of mind, wise unity of mind. Not any kind of unity of mind, it's wise unity of mind that comes from right effort and that comes from wisdom, understanding mental states, what to do with them. Then wise samadhi is all the levels, that is basically just saying, okay, so when you do this, when you do right effort, there will be mindfulness. You'll be aware of body, you'll be aware of sensations, you'll be aware of mind, you'll be aware of Dhamma principles, just as it is. Not this is me, this is good, this is bad, or this is like ugly, beautiful, I wish I was like this, I wish I was like that. Whatever that storyline is, just seeing that for what it is, without agitation of the unwholesome states, with clarity. And then the mind, when we do that, the mind will go through stages of deepening. And those are the levels of meditation. So it's a talk on right effort, but right effort cannot be dissociated from the Eightfold Path. If you really want to know what right effort is, this is the window. The 6 R's are right effort. They are small part of right effort at the level of the mind. They go very deep. It's a very beautiful tool, but it's not the complete picture. The Eightfold Path is the complete picture. So now we're almost done. A 50-minute monologue. Great. So is that clear as mud? As clear as mud? I'll have a sip of chai. I'll let you think about it. Is there any other questions? If you've experienced something in your practice this week, what's going on? How's everybody? Yes.
From 6, can we drop some of the 6?
Can we drop?
I mean, some of the R's, because 6 are, I think, too much.
Ah, yes. Yeah, it is. It's a bit of a, everybody on retreat at the beginning have usually a hard time remembering what the 6 R's are, and because also the 6 R's is not just like recognize, release, relax, smile, return, repeat. We have to do, if we were to just say that, then it wouldn't work. Like people wouldn't be doing the right thing. So we have to actually explain the 6 R's a lot to really explain what we mean by that, like what to actually do. It's not just about, doing six words. But yes, I do agree with you that it's a lot of R's, and yeah, technically, yeah, it all depends. It's all ways of understanding. The Buddha had so many ways of explaining his teaching. You could remove the first and the last R; it wouldn't make too much of a big difference. Personally, the way that I like to explain it is really by the two wings to awakening. That's really, for me, it's when I understood that, it was like really boiling it down to its most essential kind of basic understanding. Is that on one side you let go, on one side you uplift the mind, you gladden the mind, and just working with these two, then that gets it going. But I have to explain a lot more than this so that people can actually practice properly. So I would have to say, release and relax, I really like having the two, because for me, how I explain them is the mind and the body. So that connection between nama, rupa. If we go only at the mind, level of the mind, releasing, like we think we let go of an idea, of a story, it's very incomplete. Most of the time it will still be in the body. And so that's one of the things that I really appreciated about this teaching, it wasn't just a mental thing of experiencing everything that you're experiencing. First, there's something to do, which I was like, wow, this is amazing. There's something I have to do. Because otherwise it's like, I don't know, looking at, well, I guess scanning your body is doing something. But in, I lost my chain of thought.
You're saying releasing in the mind and
Yes,
the body.
right. And so releasing is not enough in the mind. We have to go through the relaxed step, which is through the body. And that also explains that pasambayang karasankarang in the anapanasati. So that was also really important for me to finally hear that there was that step in the anapanasati that I thought I had maybe been practicing, but actually I wasn't really. I wasn't even there. Usually anapanasati, they're not even telling you to relax your body, really. It's just looking at your nostrils. So that element of relaxing. And then I was reading the anapanasati and I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. Like, yeah, relaxing your body, relaxing the kaya sankharas. And so the mind and the body, that connection, and how, release and relax, it also reflects the nature of distractions. The distraction, basically, Bhante would say, craving manifests as tension and tightness in your body. And that was also it's a golden law of this teaching. You can try to just be aware of it in mind, but if you go through your body, you'll really feel it. You'll really feel that it's tensed, or you'll really feel it, that anger in your body. So when you feel it in your body, it's easy to let it go. Because when you're in the mind, we get caught up in the story. So that's not easy to do. So when we go through the body, we actually relax the body. There's something really beautiful that happens. The mind also opens up and it relaxes, because we go through the body and we kind of, there's a lot of new therapies around that principle also, somatic experiencing, and the understanding of the polyvagal theory and all that, so that to deal with trauma, not by trying to fix things by asking questions and things like that, but by going through the body, how your body feels, and when these thoughts come in, how do you feel it in your body? and to actually let that go and let that express itself instead of locking it, because otherwise it's really hard to find a way out. It seems like sometimes there's no way out because we're just stuck in the mind. And re-smile, I mean, we could, I could just give an instruction to people to smile all the time and we could just remove the R and that would be the same thing, It's not like, we can do whatever we want, There's no, nobody said, the goal is to understand these principles. And so Bhante taught it around the 6 R's. The Buddha taught it in different ways, so we don't have to be limited to all of that. I like to say, because, even just saying re-smile, you have to, I have on retreat to put a lot of emphasis on it. The first 3 days of the retreat, people are very serious. It's just how it is. And, it's like, oh, it's a meditation retreat. We have to meditate and it's a serious thing. And it is, and in a way it is, but it's not at the same time. And it's actually to remind people, just smile. Don't worry. Don't overdo it. Just enjoy. And the thing is, when you understand these principles, it just works. There's no days or there's no retreat that it doesn't work. The only time it doesn't work is when people don't follow the instructions. That's But if people smile, if people really actually develop the loving kindness, if they actually see the correlation between the mind and the body, the distractions come with tension in the body, to relax that, to not feed your awareness on the distraction. It just works. It's not like it's Dhamma. So that's what I like when we say Sanditthiko, Akaliko, the qualities of the Dhamma. It works. It's immediately visible. It's not going to change in time. It's timeless. It's because it's just, the mind is the mind. We're all different people, but the way the mind works is, sorry to say, but it's the same. And when we understand how the mind gets conditioned and how the mind works and how to uncondition it, then that's just the way it is. So we could do whatever we want with those 6 R's. We could actually, Tara Brach also has a good acronym. It's RAIN, recognize, analyze. What is it? Investigate, nurture.
Yeah, nurture's the last one.
I can't remember. Anyway, so accept. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. Of course, to release and relax and re-smile and return to the loving kindness, it all has a very specific purpose we're trying to achieve. The 6 R's are just or the 4 R's, if you want to call it like that, or the 4 steps of right effort, like I write in Open Heart. It's a beautiful tool. We use it as we can, but it's the Buddha's teaching is a lot more than this. So, yeah.
One more question, Bhante. We can go through jhana by using also anapanasati also, but we use metta. So we are spreading the metta, which is a goodwill. Is this different from the priti or sukha developed in the body, or it's different things? that we are giving the metta?
Very good question. That's what I like about this practice and teaching, is that it all comes together so perfectly. And whenever you cultivate metta, loving kindness has a lot of joy in it. It has it can. And if it doesn't, it will make you more sensitive to it. It will open you up in ways that make you more like of a channel for this kind of I would say energy, but also mental state. So when you develop loving kindness, you will be more sensitive to joy also. You will be more attuned to sukha. You will be more, all of these states, the more that you develop them, they reinforce each other. Like they are not, there are some ways in which they are different, but in so many ways they actually are together. So when you practice, for example, if I get your question right, anapanasati, you get some piti or sukha. Is it the same as the metta, piti and sukha? It's an intersection. That's what I would say. It's a crossroads of wholesomeness. So, yes.
Can I add that to question?
Yes.
For more clarity. We are spending that good feeling, developing our heart.
Yes.
So is that same as a piti sukha, or spreading something different? That's why I'm asking.
Yes. Like the way that I understand this is that whenever there is priti and sukha, and then you start spreading, like radiating, whatever it's gonna be, if it's metta, there's gonna be joy and ease and happiness in it. There's gonna be priti and sukha in the metta. You can just radiate joy, mudita. That's pretty much what it is. So the priti, the thing is, it's hard for us to radiate these states if we don't feel them inside. So sometimes we need to develop a little bit. And to develop, for example, piti and sukha will more and more open the channel for you to be able to spread it, to really master it. Like the way that you really know how to really deeply master the Brahma Viharas is there's no other options, is to spend a lot of time with them, and you can radiate them in all situations, in all positions, in all the ways, with all the with all of the different kind of contexts and mental kind of situation there are, is to learn to make a lot of it, to make more of it. Like the Buddha said, bahulikara, to make much of it. And to develop piti and sukha is only going to strengthen that. So if you want to take a break, do some loving kindness, bring that up a little bit, and then I don't know, you want to develop more piti sukha through other means, you can do that too. It's all coming together. So
Yes. Thank you.
it basically comes to the point where you will be cultivating all these beautiful qualities, and whatever the mind is into, it's going to be a really wholesome mind that is uplifted, that is joyful out of just mental states. It's like like the Buddha says, like I really love that analogy. It's like a spring gushing water from inside a lake, cool water. This such a beautiful analogy. That's really more and more. That's how it feels to cultivate, to do what we are all doing here. More and more, that the mind will just be really joyful, at ease, calm, and that will be the state of the mind. And wherever, in whichever direction or development you will direct it, it will pick it back up and start again from where it is. But yeah. The happy mind is collected, and the happy mind is collected and liberated.
Bhante,
Yes.
is that the boundlessness of the Brahma Viharas, is that the same as unagitated? I think maybe it's called nibbida. Agitation, is that the Brahma Viharas when they're all boundless?
Yes, I mean, see, that's another beautiful thing about the Brahma Viharas, is that it's not just cultivating it in a small area within ourselves. It's actually really spreading it, making it big, vast, expansive, measureless. And I think that why the Buddha said that is also to develop that other quality of making a really boundless mind. That would be unshaken. Yes. The way that I see that is that the wider the base of your pyramid is, the wider the base of your pyramid, the stronger the pyramid is, the more it has a stable foundation. If it's like this, then it's can tilt a little bit, but if you really spread it very vast and broad, then the mind becomes very grounded and unshaken. Can take a little bit of time, of course, but and practice. But yeah, unagitation. I think you're referring to viraga. That's what I would call viraga, nibbida and then viraga. Yes. So there's that. Viraga is, I see it as just the opposite of tanha, the opposite of craving. It's after we've done everything, all that beautiful letting go and cultivating, then at some point the mind sees things for what they are, and then nibbida, it detaches, it disengages, because it knows that engaging is making more tension. And then that mind that is disengaged is very still, is very clear, and it is not agitated. So viraga, this is the end of tanha. This is like vitanha. Viraga is the same. So in my understanding, and so in a way, when we cultivate boundlessly, it definitely helps being unagitated. We have a wide and strong foundation to sit on. So yeah, very good. Right effort, mindfulness, the Eightfold Path, the dependent origination, everything, the Brahma Viharas. Very good. So, do we have any more questions, maybe in the audience? Bhante pulled out a really good sutta yesterday, but it might take a little too long to go through it. How, what was it? Chaitana Sutta, yes. How intentions, planning, but we were discussing what that word is, really, planning. Intention, planning, and underlying tendencies are the basis for consciousness to arise. And Bhante was wondering about the word consciousness as well. Yeah. So maybe that can be something you can ponder on for the next month. How does the homework? How does intentions and planning and underlying tendency be the food for consciousness to arise? Just thinking about it, I like it. Or
the other translation, thinking and imagining.
Ah, yes.
That's the question.
Or thinking and imagining and underlying tendencies. That one is.
Which one is the right translation?
Yeah, which one is the right translation for you? A or B?
Which one makes sense?
So yeah, that's a good one. Oh, I'm not going to say, I don't want to bias the group. Great, amazing. Okay, so that's pretty good. I think maybe we can glide on this until next month. And if that's it, there's no more questions. We can adjourn. We have some lawyers in the room, so we can adjourn the session, and we can we can share merits. We can rejoice in the merits. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings find share these merits that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, share these merits of ours. May they all protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, very nice to see you, everybody. I hope you take care. Thanks to my friends also. And I'll see you next month. Keep smiling. Keep up the good work. Have fun. Keep it light.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.